Bruce, you have an amazing collection here. How many sculptures are there here?
We have over 70 sculptures now. I never thought I'd be an art collector, but most of them are all Minnesota artists, and it feels good to be able to support, some of the best Minnesota artists.
Who has made them?
Well, it started off with Heidi Hoy bronzes. She was an instructor at the Minnetonka Center for the Arts, and my work, and we, about 4 years ago, an interpreter with Alex, he's an artist from Russia, showed me pictures of the dog he made out of throwaway tires, and it's a great durable material in resourcing tires. And it was, I liked the piece, so I bought that, and then he showed me pictures of more work, and I said, well, do a few like this. He needed a place to work, so he sort of became our artist in resident. So he's building them outside the studio, and we collect tires, and we have at least 10 of his works here now.
So are most of the artists from Minnesota or from other countries too?
Oh, I think 90% of the art are Minnesota-made art, from Minnesota. We have Dick Sonic, who's just a farmer in southwest Minnesota, and you could see from his horse just all found farm throwaway scrap metal, and he built this beautiful horse, and he did the chicken on the unicycle. And Zoran is a well-known artist and works in northeast Minneapolis, and does these big rock sculptures and constructs them. I got some of his. And
So what are most of the materials that are used in the sculptures?
well, for myself and most of the artists, I can tell that they find materials and become creative of what they can do with the material. Me especially like to work that way. So, throwaway tires and giant rocks, and then you just kind of figure out what could be made with that. And for me, I have, one of the first sculptures was a giant tree cut and turned upside down in like a tripod shape. It was just like working with nature to make this piece of art, but the tree started rotting away. So then the idea came to me. I don't know how it came to me, but I put these little metal spirals as a skeleton around the tree to kind of hold the shape. And my philosophy working with nature, the tree can rot away in 100 years, but you'll still have the shape of the sculpture with the metal spirals. And it was fun to do that, so I even took a couple other trees and made more of those spiral tree sculptures.
Do each of the artists have their specialties?
Yeah, pretty much. Alex is with the tires, and I work with him on some of the designs, and Zoran works with big rocks and twisted metal. Heidi Hoy is bronze, and we have some mosaic tile by Victor Giuseppe, and we have this one piece from a grad student at the U of M, Yusuf Devali, and he made this chain man, and he actually built a fire underneath the chain man because his burning spirit was being held down because he explained like a strict school, and they didn't want him to be an artist. But it's kind of a powerful message, and I like the piece, and we have that here. And
Where are the sculptures created?
well, they mostly have their own studios somewhere in Minnesota. I have a workshop here, so I make them here, and Alex makes them here, and Heidi Hoy would do bronze casting at the Minnetonka Center for the Arts, but that program has ended there now, but they do other classes.
How in the world do you transport some of these things?
Well, I did end up buying a nice boom truck, and then there's a telescoping forklift that can pick up a lot of the heavy rocks and stuff.
Then how do you anchor them into place? Because there's so many people around and children that climb on things.
Well, from experience, you kind of learn how to make it safe and people-proof for the most part. But when I bought the Metropolitan building pieces like 15 years ago, they were all just dumped on the hill, and I took my boom truck and decided, well, let's just make an arrangement until, store them in an arrangement form until I can find a project for them. And so now kids just kind of climb on it. It's like an obstacle thing, and it's a lot different than you know, the Walker Arts Center, you'll see a rock sculpture there and do not touch. And here, you know, I make it so you can climb on it and just let it go.
Do you have to do anything with the sculptures in the wintertime or to prepare them for winter?
Just a couple of the mosaic tile ones we cover so moisture doesn't get into and freeze, and they can, you know, but otherwise everything stays outside. We're actually, part of our vision is we're doing this log building, and to maybe even be open in the winter where the log building could be a warming house and kids can slide on the hills, or you can walk around the sculptures, give you something to do in the winter, because it's, you know, with the virgin snow, it's kind of fun. And that, you know, it's a lot of work to get that going, but right now have some of Zoran's wood pieces inside. He calls them time machines because they're these really wild pieces with patterns of Serbian rugs from 1,000 years ago make up the designs on the wood pieces.
So then, do you have to hose down the sculptures in the spring to take care of them and clean them up at all?
Yeah, there's always some maintenance to do on some of the pieces, but they're pretty much maintenance free. But there's, you know, the golf course and things, you know, need maintenance.
I noticed that some of the sculptures actually move.
Well, since I was 17, I started with kinetic sculptures, moving sculptures with simple physics, kind of weight and balance, and designed some of them to work outside in the wind. So I haven't done those for a long time, but they were real popular for about 25 years, starting in the 80s, 90s, and the first part of 2000s. And I sold them in galleries all around the country. And we have Dale Lewis's sculptures. He does a lot of fun pieces. He has the pig in the airplane, and talking about repurposing materials, the rhino, if you look real close, you can see it written, EPA certified noise approval for Harley-Davidson mufflers. So the whole rhino is made out of Harley-Davidson mufflers, but I don't know, maybe they didn't pass because they were all at the scrapyard. So, but that's him repurposing, you know, some fun material.
What are some of your favorite sculptures that you have here?
There's, you know, I like the pig and the chicken. There's a message with that because the chicken is cooking bacon and the pig is cooking eggs, and it's just the message you get with that. You know, I did the rock, paper, scissors, and it's fun when a group of people walk by and all of a sudden one person will yell out, "Oh, rock, paper, scissors," because they recognize what that piece is about. Zoran did this basket of rocks, which started off as one giant rock, and then he cut it into pieces and carved it with a hot torch. You can actually carve stone with a hot torch. It heats up the surface and it expands and just flakes off naturally how the rock was put together. But just how he made that is, I'm impressed, because I don't know how he did that work, because it weighs like 33,000 pounds. Well, one day my Bobcat needed servicing, so I bring it into Llano Equipment, and I see a pile of these Bobcat treads that some Bobcats have so they don't sink in, and you know, they're happy to get rid of them, and I somehow visioned them as a giant turtle shell. So I made, you know, pieces made so strong you can get 25 kids climbing over it any way, which way they want, and take their pictures, and some kids hang out in the turtle's mouth, like the snapping turtle's eating them up, and it's all fun.